Yes.
Hi everyone, this is Didi.
And I am Fred. And this is our 36-foot floating home Sunshine.
Join us as we go sailing. Hello, good morning everyone. First day of travel, passage. The condition of the ocean. The wind behind us and have popcorn. It's popcorn waves.
It's way beyond popcorn.
Way beyond popcorn. So mainsails and the staysails there. We hoist the staysail.
Popcorn is taking here we're getting full on white caps.
15 to 20 knots. Oh! Weeby weeby! The wave behind us, it is good. Pushing us very fast.
Yeah, it's a little squirrely because we're in this conflicting tidal.
More waves! More waves and winds. Please. Hurry up.
Here we are, folks. The beginning of day 2 of our passage to the Maldives. And there's Honey Sweetie Chickie Babe, actively engaged in something with her tablet. Probably watching a movie or something, or playing a game or something like that. We had a pretty good start yesterday. Ran into some tidal overfalls outside the harbor, and it was a bit lumpy and bouncy and gusty. But eventually we got through all that and had some absolutely beautiful sailing. But after sundown, the wind died out, wound up running the motor through most of the night, and sunrise, the wind finally filled back in from the east. And right now we are under just about idyllic sailing conditions. Got an east breeze blowing 12, a little bit more, maybe 12, 14 knots. Sea state is maybe half a meter. Boats making somewhere between 4 and 4.5 knots. So I can maintain my 100-mile-a-day average. Of course, if the wind came up a little bit more, like around steady 15, it'd start getting up near 120, 125 mile days. And in order to accomplish all this, I have got the Genoa. I guess you'd say it a leeward because the wind is ever so slightly north of east. And I've got the Yankee flying free to windward, or on the starboard side. I'll show you this setup here in a second. And this is a favored rig of mine. I used a similar setup many times, almost all the way across the South Pacific and the North Pacific, when the wind is say somewhere between about 150 and 180 apparent, and it balances pretty well. I can carry those two sails because they're fairly heavy duty cloth up to 20 knots of true wind without a problem. And of course, if I got 20 knots of wind under these conditions, the seas would be bigger, but I'd start averaging up around 6 knots boat speed. Anyway, the way this whole thing works is that I use the main boom. In this case, I'm saying it's off to leeward, or the port side of the boat. as a pole. Right there. To pole out the Genoa. So what I do is I put another sheet on the Genoa and lead it through that block on the end of the boom and then down to the rail and to a winch. So in order to disconnect all of that, I just ease that sheet, put tension on the regular sheet for the sail, and if necessary, I drop it down far enough to untie that secondary sheet. So that's a pretty standard setup. Now, I have the Yankee flying on the starboard side, and it's flying free because I only have one head stay. It's one of the reasons that I had my head sails all made with a wire luff, so I can do this. As you can see, the staysail is not hanked anywhere. It can be a little bit of a handful raising and lowering it to make sure it doesn't go in the water. And of course the spinnaker pole is holding the clue out. And I noticed the topping lift for the pole, I got a line wrapped around there. That's to keep the all those little wires and stuff from slapping and banging against the pole when it's not in use. I should have checked that, because that topping lift, the pole lift, actually goes to the end of the pole, which makes it pretty easy to manage the pole up and down. The inboard end, of course, is on the track with the an uphaul and a downhaul on the car, so I can raise and lower the inboard end of the pole. And of course the pole should be perpendicular to the mast, so it doesn't induce any bending load. And I've got another sheet. This is not the normal starboard Genoa sheet. This is an extra line. Runs back aft here to my big heavy duty block and to a winch, so I can control this. Now, you might all think this is a wild and crazy setup, and how the hell do I manage it with two people? Well, remember folks, I single-handed this boat from Florida all the way to the Philippines and used to do all this stuff by myself. So it's really not all that hard. It just takes a little practice and figuring it out. And sometimes I have actually dug out the storm jib and put it on the staysail stay and used a boat hook to pull it out with. No real need to do that now. But back when I was crossing the South Pacific, well, I was really pushing the boat to get every tenth of a knot of speed that I could. Now I'm pretty content if I can make my 100 mile a day average. Anything more than that is a bonus. Now the wind is gusting up and down a little bit today. Ooh, there goes a bunch of flying fish. That means somebody's after them. I know Duty is mad crazy about trying to catch a big fish. We got some hooks and stuff made up for that, but I'm not sure we're going fast enough yet. She might want to try it out later today. But as the wind gusts up a little bit, it gets up to around 15, which is good because that'll start pushing our average speed up a bit. If it gets up 15 to 18, make 125 miles a day instead of 100. Gets up around 20, low 20s, which I can carry this rig in quite safely. Start seeing 6 knot average. Not 6 knot once in a while, but average. I've got many days of 140 to 150 miles sailing this boat, which is pretty good for the type of boat it is. Anyway, I know a bunch of you are in the throes of winter. I'm in my normal costume, which is a pair of shorts and my Crocs. Dee Dee's all bundled up against the sun. And of course she feels the coolness much more than I do, although it's not cool. It's got to be in the 80s. Just absolutely gorgeous, beautiful day. And I think finally we're out of the realm of fishing boats. Last night there were still a number of them out to the northwest of us on the horizon. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe they were shrimpers because they had the big lights shining down into the water. But I don't know that for sure. Fortunately, they did manage to stay pretty far away from us. Not too many fishing boats are interested in having me tangle up in their fishing lines out here because it's the middle of nowhere and I'm leaving Thailand. So they got no recourse if I got to cut up their nets or something to get free of them. So they do stay away, which is good. Anyway, hopefully a lot of the rest of this passage should be quite similar in conditions to what we're experiencing now, which is fine for me. Very relaxing, very easy sailing. I wouldn't mind going a little bit faster, but since the sea state is fairly low, fairly small seas, makes the ride very comfortable. You can see we're not rocking and rolling and going crazy here. Every once in a while, a bit of a swell from the northeast will sneak in here, maybe a meter high, and give us a little bit of a roll. But normally sailing here, I mean, the boat's hardly moving at all. 5 degrees roll, maybe back and forth. Not much. I'm actually steering the boat with the autopilot. It's so well balanced with this setup that the autopilot is not functioning most of the time. Just holding the auxiliary rudder straight. And the boat stays quite well on course with the rudder and the helm in the middle. So that's it for now. This is the beginning of day 2, a little bit after 9:30 in the morning. And probably not going to have a whole lot more to report if conditions remain as they are. Bye for now.
Dito.
In the middle. So that's it for now. This is the beginning of day 2, a little bit after 9:30 in the morning.
Beautiful day.
Probably not going to have a whole
Pleasant sailing.